Hello, everybody, and welcome to Space Daily. I'm Gabriel. Today we've got some live coverage of the landing on Mars of Perseverance. It's very exciting because it's only been done this way once before with Curiosity. And Perseverance is a lot different than Curiosity. It's got a lot more instruments. And I actually didn't do a live stream of the actual launch because it was very early in the morning. But it launched back in June, and on an five, or five, was it five? I think it was 551 with 5 solid rocket motors, 5-meter fairings, and 1 second stage engine. And we get more into that in a video later on. So we've got a pretty cool animation of the landing for you. So let's go ahead and play that. See if it'll load. This is from JPL, and it's an animation of the landing on Mars. So let's. So yeah, that's obviously today. So unmute it so we can listen. That's Perseverance. That's where to Mars. Those are thrusters firing to realign it and unspin it. We've also got a really cool animation that I'm happy to show you. There it is, re-entering the atmosphere. So after re-entry, a parachute will deploy, which we will see in just a couple seconds. The thrusters will continue to fire to get it online to its landing site. There's a parachute. It'll float down under the parachute and it'll glide towards its landing site. Although the parachute isn't enough, so first the rover will drop the heat shield, and then it'll drop the actual engine will fire to slow it down to a speed of about 1.7 kilometers per hour, which is pretty slow. But also they will lower the rover because if the sky crane, which is what the thing that's holding onto the rover is called, it'll have to lower it, and that's in order to prevent Martian dust from kicking up and destroying the instruments on board. So there it's lowered by a cable, and then it'll separate and fly away. The sky crane will safely crash far away, and thanks for being excited about this historical event. And the rover will turn on and it will begin its work. And that's if everything goes according to plan, which we'll have to find out at 3:55. Okay, so that's the end of that animation. So let me stop that screen share. I'm going to share something else. Let me share this. This is a 3D animation. This is currently live here. Let me just share full screen. It's better for me. Never mind, it doesn't do it. It doesn't make it. Okay, so this is an animation of what the rover probably is doing right now. There is Maven, which is a Mars orbiter that's going to be transmitting data back to Earth when Earth disappears in the horizon. There's also the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. Let's see if I can find it. It should be somewhere else in the sky. It's up higher. Got it right. Can't. Oh, is that it? Oh, that's Earth. But Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is another orbiter that will be translating back to Earth. Now let me go ahead and show some of this stuff here. So we will have cruise stage separation soon, and this is courtesy of NASA Eyes, this is all animated, so it's not perfectly correct, although yeah, we will have touchdown in about 40 minutes from, and over 40 minutes from now. So we'll have cruise stage separation about 10 minutes before entering the Earth's atmosphere, and the cruise stage, which if you try zooming in here, the cruise stage is like that right over there. That's the crew stage. That's the crew vehicle, as they call it, because it's probably going to be similar to that when we launch humans to Mars. But over there on top, where you can see the solar panels, that's the crew stage. About 10 minutes before entering the atmosphere, it'll separate, and the crew stage houses the solar panels, all the sensors, and fuel tanks to help it orient itself on its way to Mars. So yeah. Next up, after that will be despin, which is when it starts to unspin itself. And in the chat, I want you. There's the option for floodlights. It just makes it brighter, but it makes it a little bit less realistic. I think we'll continue without the floodlights, but yeah, thank you all for joining us. It certainly is a historical event, and that's the point of perseverance, is to find out if there was once life on Mars. Obviously, probably wouldn't be intelligent life because we probably would have found skeletons and other stuff. But most likely, it's most likely just like bacteria and other stuff. And let me know, can you hear me okay? Because it might be a little bit glitchy. Okay, we're good. But if you have any problems, let me know. So we skipped this week's podcast because we recorded this and it doesn't say so. Yeah, I decided not to do it this week. But we should have cruise separation pretty soon. And once again, it will be in this live animation from NASA. So thank you, NASA, for this. I'm gonna click the wrong thing. Okay. We also have some mission control audio, which I want to turn on. I could listen in to what they're saying.
Very slightly from the 147.7 meters we had previously.
Happy this may be our last look before we stop.
Okay, all stations, as with our tradition, we usually would have some peanuts at this moment. We all had our peanuts at lunch, but to keep our tradition, I will take one peanut for all of us to keep our tradition.
It's a tradition to eat peanuts. It started a while back. I don't know what. Maybe I could do some research after and figure that out. But and that's a tradition for living on Mars. I'm going to mute myself here. We won't hear anything. I'm still with you, and I'll leave you with the 3D animation. Okay, sorry about that. I just had to go get some stuff for the landing, but everything's looking good. They do have a little bit more delta V than expected, and that is, or not delta V, velocity than expected, which is okay. They said it was by 0.01. So yeah, nothing too bad. Okay.
Flight Telecom.
So in a minute.
Flight Telecom.
Telecom, I just want to let you know that radio science reports that despite the inclement weather in West Virginia, the Green Bank telescope was able to point at Mars. There was a threat that they were not going to be able to do it because of the rain and snow, and the ice, but they are doing it.
Copy Telecom. Great news.
Okay, so they are able to listen in, and in just a sec, we're going to take a break, but I'll leave you once again with the animation, and then we're going to switch to a different view for, and this time I'm going to be with my buddy Nathan, and yeah. What happens to the rover after it lands? Will it keep transmitting for a while? Yes, the expected term for it is 2 years, although for Curiosity it was also 2 years, and it's already been 7. So yeah, it's probably going to go on, keep collecting research, and that's just part of it.
System flight.
Go flight.
Affirmative. Okay. We'll try again. My computer was having trouble with the visualization and WebEx, but I will restart WebEx and try again.
Okay, so once again, we're listening into our we're currently listening into our
All stations on
to-
M20 EDL app.
we're
probably
currently listening
time
into
we'll need to do a
we're currently taking a look at the
back
pre-landing
before we go
simulation,
into quiet mode.
which is live and
Also,
3D.
unless
So
we have something updated we want to show in the next couple of minutes, we're about to turn over our WebEx screen to Telecom for phones. At that point, I'm happy to get updates in chat in our WebEx on EDL app, but I prefer to not have any more call-outs over the net unless you see something you do not expect.
okay, so they're all communicating and everything's going well. Let me just go ahead and show this. Cruise stage separation.
Oh, well, this is 3. I have the run-out solution, OD135, distance to target, 392 meters.
Please feel free to share if you'd like.
Okay, everything's looking good. We were currently watching the EDL pre-landing simulation, which is showing live data with everything that we are currently receiving. And we're currently listening to Mission Control,
35 by 001.
having their conversation. We're about 32 minutes from landing. Those hearts start pumping, and the peanuts start getting eaten. So, yeah. If you have any questions, feel free to write in the chat.
Thank you, Task 3.
Okay, let's see.
All stations at this on M20 EDL app. At this time, we will go quiet on the net until we start our call-outs during EDL telemetry.
Okay, everything's looking good.
Here we go.
We're quieting down, just waiting for some EDL telemetry, and yeah. All the antennas are currently working. So, yeah, let's hope for the best. If all goes well, we should have a landing in about 30 minutes. Okay, 1 second. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be back soon.
being sent.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Yes. Yes. Yes, I'm on. which is a rover that's going to land on Mars, is going to look for signs of life. And the Mars will be your big rover. Okay, sorry about that. We just had some technical difficulties. We will be back in just a second. I'm going to share my screen here. We are back here. Our 3D animation's looking good. Unmute mission control so we can listen in.
Stage separation.
Wait, did we just hear cruise stage separation? Cruise stage separation. Let's see if we can get it on. Yes, cruise stage separation confirmed. There it is. It's floating. We've got cruise stage separation.
Cruise stage separation has been confirmed by the spacecraft. In about 1 minute, Perseverance's landing software will wake up and begin the final preparations for entry. The first action it will do is to fire warm-up pulses with its entry thrusters. These pulses ensure that the spacecraft gets the thrust that it wants during entry interface. We're about 9 minutes from entry interface.
And 30 seconds also from the D-spin, which will get rid of the spin, and that should happen any second now. Everything's looking great. Might be able to get Nathan on.
I have confirmation that we got shadowed by the cruise stage as it passed through our beam to the Earth.
Indicated actually that we could see a signal that the cruise stage went between the Perseverance entry capsule and Earth. So we saw a little blip, the data stream indicating cruise stage separation.
We begun warming up the RCS.
We have confirmation that the vehicle has started warming up those entry thrusters. Warm-up pulses have begun.
Okay, and that's in preparation for the D-spin, which is actually currently happening. Firing thrusters, and we have.
At this point, the spacecraft is trying to stop its spin from the cruise 2 revolutions per minute down to 0, and then will turn to its desired orientation from entry. It will separate the 2 balance masses that has kept it balanced during all of cruise. This will allow the entry capsule to have lift when it enters the atmosphere. We have confirmation that the spacecraft has turned to the desired entry attitude. We're about 7.5 minutes from entry interface.
7.5 minutes from entry phase, which means that we are 14 minutes from touchdown. So close here. Everything's continuing to look good. Okay. Let's keep on listening in.
MR points carrier lock. MR. The DTE from Radio Science from Green Bank reports carrier lock. Do you see the carrier on the downlink?
Flight level 1.
We are continuing to wait for entry interface. We're about 6 minutes and 45 seconds from entry interface. We have confirmation from Greenback receiving direct to Earth telemetry via that. The
spacecraft Perseverance is currently transmitting heartbeat tones. These tones indicate that Perseverance is operating normally and has nothing significant to report. This is as expected. We're currently just over 6 minutes from entry interface.
6 minutes from entry interface. Everything's continuing to look good. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have next and what we're currently in the middle of. Okay, entry interface. That's next. We're currently alive at that should happen.
We're just under, we're about 5.5 minutes from entry interface. We're still receiving heartbeat tones. We expect to continue receiving heartbeat tones until about 5 minutes after entry. At that Perseverance, we no longer in view of our antennas here on Earth. About 90 seconds prior to entry, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter should begin receiving telemetry from Perseverance and streaming to Earth in near real time. There are expected short outages, such as when we have a plasma blackout or when we enter the peak heating phase. Aside from these outages caused by the plasma blackout, antenna switching, or high dynamic events, spacecraft events, we should have telemetry until about 90 seconds after landing. A plasma blackout is when the signal from Perseverance isn't strong enough to make it through the superheated, super fast air flowing around the spacecraft all the way down to Earth. Once the temperature drops below that peak heating, we do reacquire the signal from Perseverance. We are currently about 4.5 minutes from entry interface. Perseverance continues to report heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal.
So for just under 4.5 minutes from entry interface point, which is when we have peak heating basically, and when the entry is at the highest level. Let's go back to this. You can see
reports the electro radio is
expected
powered on.
landing.
We receive signals from the lander.
We're receiving signals from the lander. Things looking good. The landing site's over there.
Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has reported that it's ready to receive the signals from Perseverance. It should be in a few minutes here. We're just
Flight level 1
from entry interface.
Few minutes from entry interface. Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is hearing the Perseverance's heartbeats like we are currently. Although when we're not able back on Earth to hear it, the Mars Reconnaissance
Around
Orbiter.
this time, a second spacecraft, Maven, should begin picking up telemetry from Perseverance and will continue to record that telemetry until several minutes post-landing. We won't get that data for several hours after landing as it's being recorded and then will be forwarded to Earth later.
Okay, by the way, the 7 minutes of it's called 7 minutes of terror. That will start. That will start with 7 minutes till we land. Let's take a look at when that is. That will start. At just before entry interface. That's when the 7 minutes of terror will begin. Because we do not have a way to communicate with the vehicle once it's entered the atmosphere. Although peak heating, and then by the time we actually receive signal, it will already be on the surface. And actually, it currently is right now. It's actually right now. It's on the surface of Mars, whether it crashed or
indicating everything is nominal.
So actually, literally just no, he's not on. So, we currently have it probably is on the surface right this second as we're speaking. 2 minutes ago it landed, whether it was successful or not. But because it's 11 and a half minutes behind until
we're
we actually
just under 2 minutes from entry interface. As it gets closer to Mars, Perseverance is actually being pulled in by gravity and accelerating. By the time Perseverance reaches entry interface point, it should be going just under 5.4 kilometers per second. We're about 90 seconds from entry interface, and standing by for Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to pick up the telemetry.
Okay, everything's looking good. And your interface will slow it down, but currently, because we're 11.5 minutes behind, like, it takes 11.5 minutes for the radio signals to travel from Mars to Earth. So 11.5, and when it lands, or when we see it land, 11.5 minutes before
we are 1 minute from entry interface.
It will have been 11.5 minutes after we get confirmation that it landed. It really landed. So it's kind of confusing. So we're celebrating 12 minutes after it already happened, which is kind of strange, although we didn't
Tomorrow
know
is in receive mode.
We have option that the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is now relaying data from Perseverance. We're about 30 seconds from entry interface. Perseverance is going about 5.2 kilometers per second and is about 190 kilometers altitude above the surface of Mars.
Okay. So the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is transmitting the data now because Perseverance is getting close to, is getting very, very close to the
entry interface. 5.3 kilometers per second and an altitude of about 150 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
Okay, 6 minutes and 4 seconds till touchdown. We are currently at an entry interface point, and 40 seconds when the guidance starts, and everything does it by itself. It's a smart girl, so it knows what to do.
We have confirmation of entry interface. Perseverance is currently going 5.3 kilometers per second at an altitude of about 120 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
Hearts are starting to beat here. Peanuts are getting ready to be eaten.
The ship is now waiting until it begins feeling the atmosphere of the Mars slow it down. Once there is enough atmosphere, it will start controlling its path to the landing target.
Okay, that's...
Doppler indicates entry into the atmosphere.
Navigation is also confirming that we can see a little bit of that slowdown of atmosphere on the Perseverance entry capsule. Our current velocity is about 5.36 kilometers per second and an altitude of about 67 kilometers from the surface.
We are probably seeing MRO plasma blackout at this point.
One completed.
MRO has lost log.
Perseverance.
Indicate reversal, bank reversal.
We have indications that Perseverance is now performing bank reversals in the atmosphere. These are steps in order to control its distance to the landing target. Perseverance has just passed through the point of maximum deceleration and has indicated that it felt approximately 10 Earth Gs of deceleration.
Which is high.
MRO has lock again.
Heading alignment will begin in about 10 seconds.
We saw a small outage of the UHF telemetry from Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter during that peak heating phase, likely caused by the plasma blackout. Perseverance is still continuing to perform bank reversals in the atmosphere to control its distance to the landing target.
Reversal.
And in about 4 minutes, we want to hear, we're waiting to hear, we are safe on Mars. And that would be good. 1 minute till we begin surfing scanning the surface, or SUFR.
An altitude of about 16 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have entered heading alignment, which means Perseverance is no longer trying to control the distance to Mars, but to the target on Mars, but instead is going straight to the target.
"30 seconds till they begin scanning the surface, or getting the scanning surface instruments ready to begin scanning the surface, because they're going to deploy a pair soon. Now they're going to drop the heat shield, then they're going to drop the actual rover and it will ignite, and we'll try and land. Let's see. Cross our fingers. This is the moment of truth.
Our current velocity is about 550 meters per second at an altitude of about 15 kilometers surface.
3 minutes from landing. Got a question? Yeah, it's 3 minutes from landing.
MR is reporting good telemetry log.
Good telemetry, which means that
we are coming upon the We are starting the straighten up and fly right maneuver, where the spacecraft will jettison the entry balance map condition for parachute deploy and to roll over to give the radar a better look at the ground.
Indicate chute deploy.
Parachute
the navigation
deploy.
has confirmed that the parachute has deployed, and we are seeing significant deceleration in the velocity. Our current velocity is 440 meters per second at an altitude of about 12 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
For some reason here it's not showing the parachute deploy, although we've got confirmation. So okay.
Heat shield set.
Perseverance is now slowed to subsonic speeds, and the heat shield has been separated. This allows both the radar and the cameras to get their first look at the surface. Current velocity is 145 meters per second at an altitude of about 9 kilometers above the surface.
Okay, I'm actually going to stop this share because for some reason it's not working, and I'm going to share a different screen. Quickly.
Nav filter converged. Velocity solution 3.3 meters per second. Altitude 7.4 kilometers.
Now has radar lock on the ground. Current velocity is about 100 meters per second. 6.6
They found where they're going to
surface.
land. You're going to hear it when it lands, so.
Perseverance is continuing to descend on the parachute. We are coming up on the initialization of terrain relative navigation and subsequently the timing of the landing engines. Our current velocity is about 90 meters per second at an altitude of 4.2 kilometers.
Will be a valid.
We have confirmation that the lander vision system has produced a valid solution and part of terrain relative navigation.
Timing. TBA is nominal.
We have timing of the landing engines. Current velocity is 83 meters per second at about 2.6 kilometers from the surface. We have confirmation that the back shell has separated. We are currently performing the divert maneuver. Current velocity is about 75 meters per second at an altitude of about 1 kilometer off the surface of Mars.
And safety, bro.
We have completed our terrain relative navigation. Current speed is about 30 meters per second, altitude of about 300 meters off the surface of Mars.
SDS level.
Constant velocity accordion, altitude.
We have started our constant velocity accordion, which means we are conducting the sky crane, about to conduct the sky crane maneuver.
We've lost direct to earth tones.
Throttle down.
Sky crane maneuver has started.
This is the moment
About 20 meters
Tango
off the surface.
Delta. Nominal.
We're getting signals from MRO.
Bring stable.
Did we hear a confirmation of landing?
Your depth is good. Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely.
Touchdown!
Ready to begin seeking the sands of past life.
Touchdown of Perseverance on the surface of Mars.
At this point, the descent stage has flown away to a safe distance. Perseverance
landed.
is continuing to transmit direct through Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to Earth.
Okay. Touchdown confirmation. For some reason we're not hearing them. But yay. Got landing. Everything is good.
MRO
And
reports they're still getting telemetry from the lander.
All right, all stations. Touchdown confirmed. We're going to wait for the images.
Okay, we'll wait for the images and watch the video of the landing, which should be soon. Surface operations. We're on the surface of Mars. Still can't believe it. Let's see if we can get, people are still celebrating there. History has been made, and we are waiting for the video feed so we can watch what it really looks like and not just a simulation. So.
OL3, OL1, you have what you need?
OL3, I have what I need. Flight, we have seen the completion of EDL 3000.
Copy.
Copy activity. That is as expected.
MRO is still seeing a strong signal from the lander.
So it sounds like,
this is OL3.
sounds like somebody's crying.
I
Don't blame
am
her.
ready to share.
OL3, you are go. For those on M.
All stations stand by for the images. Yeah!
Images from the surface of Mars.
Woo!
See the show to us. There's the image. Doesn't look like it's a big deal, though. It really is.
Flight, this is OL3. I have the target point on the map when you are ready. We are ready, OL3. Go for it.
Everybody's happy, clapping it up. History had been made, and
Flight, I'll be moving in, showing you the safe zone that we've landed in.
that's the view there from the surface of Mars.
OL Flight.
TRN. TR.
Can we get the cliff image, OL?
Activity, this is OL. Can you repeat that request on your 20 EDLF?
OL, can we get the other image? Should show the cliff.
Okay, so obviously it landed.
I'm sorry, say what image again? I'm not understanding.
Flight OL3. OL3. You can see we've landed about 35 meters from the nearest rocks that we could identify from orbit by their shadow.
So
Copy OL3, TRN in action.
Yep.
TRN.
Take that, Desiree. Woo!
So yeah, Jezero Crater is where they landed.
I remember that. It looks good.
Jezero Crater is where they landed, and
Copy OL3.
it is a crater that I believe was once a lake, and they're going to look for signs of bacteria.
So,
It looks like we've got a whole bunch of pictures from Perseverance. That's some real Perseverance there. Yeah.
Reports Electra still in lock with the lander.
we have seen the transition to service. EDL done.
And crater.
Transition to surface.
Thank you, MRO.
We have landed.
Congratulations, Perseverance team, and the whole team that's not here as well. Excellent job.
Congratulations to the Perseverance team. They persevered through COVID. They persevered through tough times, and they're still able to manage to land on Mars. So congrats to them. We're still waiting for the video feed, so we'll keep.
All stations on M20 EDL ops. We have transitioned to surface as reported downstairs. If you're part of that story to the surface team, make sure you're starting to work those inputs, please.
How does it feel to have another rover on Mars?
Okay, I'm going to stop that share, and I'm going to share a different screen. Share screen. So this one. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with this guy who also worked on the Curiosity rover. So let's listen to how he feels about landing.
And it's just an amazing accomplishment.
And what does this mean for NASA and its future plans?
So for robotic exploration, every time we execute a mission, new instruments,
there's no snow on Mars.
Discover new things and things we never thought we would discover. So that always informs our future robotic missions, landers and orbiters. This mission also has technology on it. One of the cool things is the Ingenuity helicopter. It's an experiment on this mission, but if it's successful, we can use it as.
Okay, 1 second. I'm just going to stop that share.
OL1, this is AL2, voice check.
IRD bye-bye.
I just want to announce to everybody I've taken a first pass at the surface transition report. I've got some numbers from the script, and I'm awaiting inputs from a couple people still, and confirmation from others ready for review.
Copy. The end of that was it's ready for review. Are you asking people to take a look at your cache report?
That's right. It's ready for review. I'm looking for confirmation, a handful of folks on some of the values before making it final.
Copy. Do you want that confirmation of net?
The process is to work it over email. I sent out an email that they can reply to.
Thank you.
Okay, so any questions? Feel free to write in the chat. Successful launch, successful launch back in June, successful EDL entry, descent, descent and landing. So congratulations to everybody at NASA. We have officially landed, and we're going to wrap up. And thank you all for joining us. Goodbye. Give us 30 seconds.